Have you ever felt totally stuck, like you're in a loop with a habit you just desperately want to quit? Trust me, you are not alone. So that's what we're going to do here. Break down a proven strategic toolkit to finally break free from those habits for good. Let's just dive right in. Okay, let's start with a hard truth, straight from the source material. 17. That's the average number of times someone tries to quit a really stubborn habit before they actually succeed. So if you've tried and failed before, listen up. That's not a sign that you're weak, it's just part of the process. But today, we're going to arm you with strategies to make this attempt your last one. And here's the absolute core of it all. Success isn't about gritting your teeth and just hoping for the best. As this quote explains, it's about something way deeper, way more strategic. We're talking about literally rewiring the connections in your brain. So we're shifting from a battle of wills to a game of strategy. All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we're going to bust the willpower myth. Then we'll walk through 5 powerful strategies that cover your environment, your inner responses, and your support systems. And we'll wrap it all up with your very first actionable step, a clear path to get you from here to there. First up, the willpower myth. Look, our source is crystal clear on this. Trying to just overpower an urge head-on, it's like trying to hold back a wave with your bare hands. It's exhausting, and you know what? It almost always fails. Why? Because you're fighting the symptom, not the system that's creating it in the first place. And that brings us to our first and maybe the most powerful strategy of them all. Engineer your environment. The idea here is so simple, but it's absolutely profound. Your environment shapes your behavior way more than your determination ever could. We're going to stop trying to be strong and start being smart by designing a space that works for us, not against us. So how do we do it? Well, it really just boils down to these 3 practical steps. First, you've got to identify your triggers. What are the things in your space that kickstart that unwanted habit? Second, add friction. That just means you make the bad habit harder to do, a little more inconvenient. And third, ease the alternatives. Make the good things you want to do the easiest, most obvious choice you've got. Okay, let's move from the world around us to the world inside us. Engineering your environment is a fantastic start, but it's only half the battle. We also have to remap our internal responses. This is all about interrupting those automatic patterns in our minds and deliberately, consciously replacing old behaviors with new ones. Now, what's really fascinating is that urges almost never come out of nowhere. The source material really hammers this point home, the responses to specific trigger patterns. Are you bored, stressed, feeling lonely? The second you can identify the feeling that comes right before the urge, you suddenly have the power to break that chain reaction. And this right here perfectly illustrates the replacement principle. You can't just stop doing something. That just creates a vacuum, a void, that your brain will rush to fill with something. You have to consciously choose what to fill it with. And here's the key. The replacement, the do you, it has to provide a similar reward. If the old habit was about relieving stress, the new one has to do that too. Okay, so you've redesigned your space, you're starting to remap your responses. Now it's time to build your defenses for the long haul. This is where we create powerful support systems and get ready for the inevitable mental battles that are gonna come up. You know, real accountability is so much more than just telling a friend your goal. An effective system involves consistent check-ins, and not just when you mess up, but about the wins too. It means actively being part of a community. The whole goal is to break that cycle of isolation, because shame absolutely thrives in silence. Now, here is a critical question you have to be ready for, because I promise you, your brain will try to negotiate with you. It's a master negotiator. It'll come up with these perfectly logical sounding reasons why just this once is totally okay. If you aren't prepared for that conversation, you will lose it every single time. So how do you win? Simple. You prepare your arguments before the negotiation even starts. Have your why written down somewhere you can see it. Know exactly how this habit gets in the way of your deeper values and your biggest goals. So when your brain starts to bargain, you're not scrambling for an answer. You're just reading from a script you already wrote. Now, the source material we're drawing from also presents a bonus framework. It's an alternative path, another tool in the toolkit for those who might connect with it. So as described in the source, this spiritual path is a framework that pulls from things like faith communities for support, prayer, and connecting to a purpose bigger than yourself for a strength that goes beyond your own willpower. It's presented as an approach that offers both forgiveness for past slip-ups and a kind of external help for the challenges ahead. All right, we have covered a ton of ground, 5 huge strategies plus a bonus one. But you know, information is totally useless without action. So let's turn all this knowing into your very first step of doing. So here's your homework, and it's simple. Don't try to do everything at once. That's a perfect recipe for getting overwhelmed and quitting. Just choose one strategy we talked about today. Just one. For most people, the easiest and fastest win is to start with designing your environment. And as you start, please remember this. The key is just persistence. The beginning is always the hardest part, and it might feel like you're not making any progress. But the source material points out that lasting change often happens gradually, and then all at once. You just have to stick with it long enough to see that breakthrough happen. So we'll leave you with this final practical question to get you started. Think about that first strategy, designing your environment. What is the one simple obstacle you can build between yourself and your unwanted habit? Right now, today. Answering that question, that's your first real step to breaking the cycle for good.